Okay, my problem is I love politics. I love talking about it. It's like a sport to me. The problem is my team doesn't win. I'm a registered libertarian, and that party doesn't win. So, I'm stuck with these two other terrible parties that I have to deal with. These stupid bugs. And right now, there's a midterm coming up. So, we have the situation where one side is in the lead, but they see their lead slipping to regain control of the Congress. And they need to shore up their lead. So what do they need? They need tear-jerking stories. Okay, so I was tempted to call this 4D chess by Hillary Clinton, but she's not that smart. Her husband and other politicians over the past decade have created rules that dictate how to handle children of illegal immigrants coming across the border and how to handle that. So when someone is breaking the law, you incarcerate them and you hold them. Now, generally it's considered compassionate to not incarcerate children with adults, especially adults that may or may not be, violent. So it's traditional to separate the children from the adults in circumstances like that. That's why we have things like foster care. Now, when it happens in large numbers, when you have a lot of people breaking the law and a lot of people bringing their children into these dangerous situations, you need to make sure those children are protected. So, it's very difficult to do that without it looking very draconian. I can see why having a camp, like cages with people in them, is difficult to see. But there's only so much you can do, and short of ushering entire families, or I'm not even going to call them families, I'm going to say groups of children and adults, ushering them back onto planes and flying them back into Mexico isn't a great option either. Because who knows if these children actually belong to these adults? We don't know that. I mean, they might belong to them in the chattel sense, or they might belong to them in the parent-child sense. But anyway, I point out online that it's not just Trump that's the problem. That there is a whole group of people involved in the creation of these laws and rules and systems. These systems are the Congress, the Senate, the House. They write the laws, they pass the laws. All the president does in these cases is either veto or approve. Now, Trump is just enforcing laws that were passed by Congress. And it's not like an executive order like DACA that can just be overruled. This is something that you need the House and the Senate to go through and actually make these changes. So, back when President Trump repealed DACA and then invited the Democrats to negotiate with him over immigration, they had an opportunity to negotiate how this immigration stuff was taken care of and how it was dealt with and how families were dealt with in these situations. This all could have been avoided if they hadn't been such stubborn, pompous jackasses. Now, I'm never going to get my way. My solution is we take the power away from the federal government and we put it in the hands of the states. And if you don't like the way Texas is dealing with people trying to enter their country, you could move to New Mexico, where maybe they're handling it better. Voting with your feet. We can't do that now because our system is so fouled up that someone 2,000 miles away has more control over what happens to these people than people standing 20 feet away from them. There's no chance you'll ever meet the president or the other people in Congress. You might meet your congressman, but that's one vote out of a bunch. And they have life or death control over you. So, because I'm never going to get my way, I think my way would be a much better approach, because if you can't get into Texas, but you can get into New Mexico, you'll get into New Mexico. Let the states deal with the damn thing. But since we have to have this damn federal government in charge of everything, if we're going to have a government, we're going to have laws. If we're going to have laws, they're going to be enforced. Right now, the system is terrible. Get your people to work with his people to make the change that's needed to protect everyone. Give an inch. If you have to, give a mile. Just do something other than call him evil. Because you're just as evil as him.